The first thing I notice when I look at this website is how many different boxes there are to choose from. It says the top 1%, what jobs do they have? So the top 1% is obviously the wealthiest of people. And then it goes through and tells me the rectangles are sized according to the number of people in the top 1%. So the color shows the percentage of people with that occupation and industry in the top 1%. So the bigger the box and then the color is the bigger percent of people who have that. So I'm noticing that there are not a lot of really big boxes, so that a big percentage of the wealthy people do not hold a lot of different types of jobs. So when I kind of start looking over here, I notice that it says with 376,000 members, the largest single group in the 1% are those who list their occupation as a manager. And I really like how you can zoom to here, and then you can see the different type of managers and what they consider managers. Because if you start to zoom out, I notice that all of this box is what they consider managers, and the biggest percent within there is security, commodity brokerage, and investment companies. Then the next part is lawyers, and it says that lawyers who work on Wall Street are twice as likely as those in the general practice to make the top 1%. So legal services and then other industries, and I guess that doesn't really surprise me when you think about Wall Street. And then physicians who work primarily in doctors' offices are somewhat more likely to make the cutoff, though doctors are well represented, as you can see, with offices and hospitals. School teachers don't earn enough to make the 1% on their own, but many live in 1% households primarily through marriages. And I find that to be extremely interesting, because one of the things that people always joke about when they're a teacher is, oh, I'll just marry rich and that's how I'll have more money. And I just think it's really ironic that that actually, according to this chart, is how you make it into the top 1%. So if I start to kind of look around at some of these other areas, we went through managers, we went through physicians, lawyers, and teachers. But the next area that I look at that has a lot of the darker color red is this area with the chef executives and public administrators. So if we zoom in on this, oh no, I'm going to actually zoom back out. I don't like that. If we zoom in on this area, I see that the darkest color, meaning the most percent, is from chef executives and public administrators. And it's again with the security, commodity brokerage, and investment companies. And then the rest of the colors are, it says other industries. We've got real estate, credit industries, the least of all being construction and banking. And I'm noticing a common trend with particularly in the managers and the chef executives is that, and even in the financial specialists where it's the darker, is that a lot of these areas are security, commodity brokerage, investments, kind of those areas that when you really think about on Wall Street and kind of, you know, having the most amount of jobs and the biggest variety and all that kind of stuff. So I just found that to be really interesting. It surprises me that like therapists and computer software and police and childcare and athletes don't make a lot in the top 1%. And I guess what I mean by that is that the jobs that I consider to be the most important as far as teachers and public servants are the jobs that make the least amount of money, and the jobs minus physicians, when you think about those kind of jobs where it's the higher ups who just get to sit in their cushiony chairs and they make all the rules, but they don't really have to do any of the hard work, they make the most money. And so I just kind of find this interesting that this is all laid out like this and kind of really reaffirms that idea.